As your governor, I promise you, whatever challenges come our way, I will always lead the California way.
You,
literally insane.
I say that's the California way.
You guys are really awesome. Thank you so much.
Based on compassion.
I mean, if we're going to be realistic, they pay you to be homeless here.
Gavin Newsom's California has made it in the top 3 slots in the following 25 statistics. Check it out. Now, Gavin Newsom's California comes in at number 1, first in the entire country for homelessness. Now, that's not the only thing that it takes first place on. Also, poverty, retail crime, gas prices, illiteracy, wage stagnation, and frivolous lawsuits, as well as restrictions on workers, anti-business regulations, income tax, gas tax, budget deficits, COVID mandates, illegal border crossings, funding for illegal immigrants, and people leaving the state. California ranks number 1 on all of those. Now, it doesn't rank too bad on some things like unemployment. It's number 3. It's only number 2 for housing cost, and it's only second in the entire nation for the worst water bills. Now, energy and electricity costs are third. Inequality is third. Road disrepair is also third. Educational inequality is second. I mean, this is very, very bad. And this is all due to California's leader, Gavin Newsom.
You bring up humor. Gavin Newsom sure thinks he's a comedian these days on social media, and so does much of the left. His polling numbers have gone way up since he started mimicking President Trump on social media.
Yeah.
What do you make of Governor Newsom?
I make of Governor Newsom that you said he's mimicking Donald Trump, and I think that's exactly right. The lesson of Donald Trump, the lesson of President Trump in American politics is you've got to be authentic to yourself. And when I see Gavin Newsom trying to act like Donald Trump, that's the opposite of authenticity. He's not trying to be Gavin Newsom, whoever that is. He's trying to be a fake carbon copy of Donald Trump, and it just doesn't work. You can't mimic the king. You can't mimic the master. You ought to just go and be yourself. And I think that the American people would like that a lot more than a cheap imitation of the President of the United States.
Instead of mimicking President Trump, maybe Gavin Newsom should be focused on California's crime.
Badass motherfucker. Do something.
Hey,
stop fucking.
So for a battery, it's going to be a private person's arrest, okay? So we're not going to be arresting him. The way that it works is because it's a misdemeanor not committed in my presence. You're going to be signing that private person's arrest, and you're going to be the one going to court and testifying against him. To arrest him. So if you're not willing to go to court, there's really no...
For property damage and battery?
So battery is a misdemeanor. The property, if it's under $400, it's still a misdemeanor.
Is that LA County or is that all California?
It's all California.
That's insane.
Guys, the police are impotent in California. Let's just move. They can't do anything. It's Los Angeles police. They can't do anything about anything. Listen, actually, I had to walk up and stand between that guy and violently assaulting them because police can't do anything. You guys are impotent to actually do justice because the state of your culture is such that people run and do evil every minute of every day.
That's fine, but I'm trying to do my job, okay? And I'm explaining to you.
Yeah, you can't do your job. You've been given a sword to do justice, to protect innocent people, but you can't do it because of the state of the culture.
People in the Pacific Palisades are still trying to get their homes rebuilt. People from other fires across California are still suffering from the lack of Gavin Newsom doing what he's supposed to do. Meanwhile, Gavin has just bought a $9.1 million house. He's richer than ever, and this might be why. Check it out.
How excited all these vineyards in Napa are that Gavin Newsom obviously won't let those burn down because obviously he needs his vineyard to launder his money through his foundations. But then I found out because he actually doesn't care if they burn down because his little money laundering company will buy up the old freaking vineyards that burned down for dirt cheap like he did in 2022, 2 years after the glass fire of 2020 burned down a property on the hillside vineyard of the Oso vineyard, 129 acres. He got it for a great deal, 14.5 million, works out to about 110,000 per acre. Why is that notable? You tell me, AI. Because it should have been going for 300,000 to 400,000 per acre in that area. But no, he doesn't care. He got it for a fire sale. Just like he tried to buy up all the Palisades with $100 million from our taxpayer money so that he could then put his friend developers in, build all these buildings, you know?
Now, as somebody that used to live in California, it is very, very sad to see the destruction of one of the most beautiful states in the entire country. I do believe that there is still hope, but they're going to need a conservative governor and somebody that can really clean the place up. I mean, look at Ron DeSantis. He got Florida's entire state debt down by like 40 to 50% since the time he's been in office. So if they can continue that plan, they could end up a debt-free state, or at least very, very close and operating at a surplus, which allows them to do things like eliminate property taxes. Ron DeSantis is doing a great job. I think Gavin Newsom needs to take notes. There are other governors that are doing a great job as well in the country, but the ones in these blue states are doing the worst. Gavin Newsom, Jared Polis. I mean, these are some of the worst of the worst. And a lot of people can see what's going on. Even people that are not residents of California can see how bad Gavin Newsom is. Check it out.
Hey, the Democrats can pick Gavin Newsom as their nominee all they want. Nobody's voting for that shit. We watched this man run his state into hell. And you think we're going to give him the keys to the nation? And then there's this bill getting passed that's stripping away parents' rights. And he ain't doing nothing about it. In fact, he wants it to go through. This bill essentially allows John Doe weirdo to get an affidavit, sign it his damn self, and then to go pick up your kid from school. Allow them to make medical decisions on your child. I'm in South Carolina, and I'm reading about your bills that you're passing because you're going to become possibly a nominee for president of the United States. No.
Trying to run for president, Gavin? Not so fast. We got $2.78 for regular gas here in the God-fearing state of Missouri. Well, why am I out here, Governor? Because I got big missions, apparently like you. And you're oppressing the citizens of California with your atrocious $4.59 gasoline. Is that what you're here to market to the rest of the nation? Very expensive gasoline. I see truckers all over these freeways. They don't want to deal with your policies, trust me. And let me tell you what, Gavin, in Chapter 3, Section 3 of Missouri state law, all that it says is that their independent redistricting commission deals specifically with their House and Senate seats here in the state. But when it comes to Congress, I could go to the state legislature tomorrow and we could knock out the 2 Democrat seats just in this state if I go to the state with a piece of legislation and get the governor to sign a piece of legislation, because they don't have a referendum process here like they do in California. But the referendum process in California is dishonest because the way that they promote the propositions to the voters are actually misleading. So you're going to get them to think that a no is a yes and a yes is a no. How dare you, new scum? And guess what? I'd be a way better president than you.
Have you guys not learned anything by now? I don't understand. Okay, I was a Democrat and I still hated Gavin Newsom. Have you guys not learned anything? Not one thing. Not one thing. Let me riddle you this, okay? Lowest approval rating in almost 4 decades now, okay? You're hemorrhaging voters. Every single state now has an uptick in Republican voters. And you guys have lost almost 5 million registered Democrat voters since just 2024 alone, okay? You would think that with all of that, you'd sit there and say, what's our plan? Okay, because it needs to be a good one. You guys are not in the driver's seat anymore. I don't know how else to put that, but if you don't make a good plan that's going to align with the majority of America, you're never going to win ever again. I can't put that any nicer. And that's not just me saying it because I support Trump or I'm a Republican. It's me saying it because this is statistic truth. Your party is going to take years to come back from the damage you guys have created. And instead of acknowledging that and saying, okay, let's be better, you put up the poster child of corruption as your candidate and leader. Am I getting that right? Gavin Newsom has destroyed California objectively. There's nothing positive that man has done. And I know that you guys are so deep in hell because most of you actually know that, and you would still vote for him over any Republican. And that is where you guys keep failing. You guys have 3 years until the presidential election of 2028. 3 years. If in 3 years you can't concoct a plan that is better than Gavin Newsom, that tells me way more about you and the destruction of your party than it says anything about how much you hate Trump. Gavin Newsom's only success right now is because he's fighting against Trump. But guess what? That's not going to last because Trump will leave office. And then Gavin is left with actually running a country when the man can't even run a state. He has ruined utilities. He has ruined taxes. He has ruined housing. He has ruined interest. He has ruined supply and demand. He spent billions on homelessness and it rose about 200%, if not more. Multiple projects the taxpayers have thrown billions at have never even started, let alone be completed, God forbid. And that just touches the surface. So if you are willing to sacrifice all of America to elect him just because he's anti-Trump, even with all of that baggage, and that just touches maybe the 1% of it all, I'm sorry, that shows way more about you than anything about Trump. You talk about all this moral superiority and this higher ground, you're a better person than Republicans. You can stand a Republican, you can't stand a MAGA. You are willing to jeopardize 350 million American working class people to elect a man who has destroyed just one state alone. That is how selfish you are in your hatred for a random man that is not only temporary, but that you don't know and have your own biases about. That is absurd. People have had enough of you guys refusing to have productive conversation, to give productive policies, to put Americans first, make Americans feel safe, do anything productive besides attempt to take down the sitting president that your own neighbors voted on. And that's not our problem. That's yours. And instead of taking the next 3 years to figure out how to fix that internally, you just deflect onto us and put up Gavin Newsom, who is worse than everything that you say Trump is. So worry about that rather than whatever the hell ICE is doing or wearing. Because I promise you have much bigger issues.
Steve Hilton is the gubernatorial candidate for California's governor, and he might have a shot. We will see, but I want you to check it out from him. He's on the ground level, reviewing the streets of California, showing that Gavin Newsom has done a terrible job, and he has the facts and receipts to come with it. Now, I want you guys to let me know down below, do you think this guy could actually stand a chance to be California's next governor? Do you think Kamala will be the next governor, or do you think it will be somebody that we haven't seen before? Or will Gavin Newsom try to pull something off and try to put his wife in there or something? You guys drop a comment, let me know your thoughts down below.
So Gavin Newsom is prancing around, lecturing everyone about our democracy, how he's defending our democracy with his illegal and unconstitutional power grab, stealing more Republican seats, rigging elections. Meanwhile, how's he doing his actual job? This is Gavin Newsom's California. This is the result of Gavin Newsom's, what is it now? 6.5, nearly 7 years in power. 15 years now of one-party rule. This is what you get from Democrat one-party rule. This is what you get. Just total squalor. Absolute, unbelievable conditions that, honestly, the term third world is just an insult to the third world. I mean, this is one of our great American cities. This is what you get from Democrat rule. This is what, by the way, Gavin Newsom was supposed to have dealt with by now. A year ago, Californians voted for Proposition 36. And Proposition 36 was all about clearing up this kind of chaos and crime, making sure that we dealt with this kind of squalor. But Gavin Newsom said, there's no money. There's no money. There's no money for implementing Proposition 36. But guess what? He just found he just found $250 million to rig the elections. So he's got money for his own political ambitions, but no money to deal with the absolute squalor on our streets. And here's another thing I just want to show you. This is what Gavin Newsom said a year ago. He went to another place just like this. He went to a place in LA. It was very similar. And he looked at it and he was shocked. How you doing? Good to see you. He was shocked at what he saw. And he said this a year ago, Gavin Newsom. This is what he said. I've got the quote right here. Can you see this? People are done. People are done, Gavin Newsom said a year ago. If we don't deal with this, we don't deserve to be in office. August 2024. Well, now it is August 2025. And yes, Gavin Newsom, people are done. And yes, Gavin Newsom, you don't deserve to be in office. So instead of running around with your pathetic lectures about defending democracy, why don't you just admit that you cannot do your job, you cannot get this done, you cannot clean up California, it is time for change, you should just resign. Get out of the way, because we cannot go on like this. We cannot go on with these conditions that shame our state, that shame our great cities, that shame our country. It is time for change in California. Gavin Newsom has to go. The Democrats have to go. That's why I'm running for governor. We are going to make California truly golden again. It's horrifying to think of it, Mark, because actually all the things you said are true and more. He has the worst record of any governor in America. I'm going to give you the specific, everyone talks about follow the data. All right, let's follow the data. Let's look at the facts about California under this. It's now 15 years of one-party rule, this corrupt elite with their elitist policies that they're just pandering to the far-left activists and the unions who really run the show in California. What's the result of all of that? Right now, today in California, with all our advantages, as you said, the beauty, the talent, the highest population, millions of talented people. Today, we have the highest unemployment rate in America, the highest of all 50 states. We have the highest poverty rate of all 50 states, the highest taxes, the highest costs for everything that matters, housing, rent, gas, electricity, water, the highest costs. Business climate. We were known in California as the home of enterprise and innovation. The American dream, in many ways, when people thought of that, they thought of California. We now have the worst business climate in America 10 years in a row. That's voted on by chief executives. Chief Executive Magazine does an annual survey. 10 years in a row, the worst business climate. Housing. We have the lowest home ownership rate in the whole country. I mean, every single thing you look at, we haven't even talked about the homelessness crisis. We have around 10% of America's population, 50% of America's homeless population. Look at crime, totally out of control. Our great cities, defaced, stinking of urine and feces and smeared in graffiti. Chaos everywhere you look. We haven't even talked about the illegal immigration, the sanctuary state policies. And then when you look at all the other policies, the mad, insane, far-left lunacy, so much of it started in California, the Green New Deal, you look at ballot harvesting, the way they rig elections, on and on. It is unbelievable. I mean, you could say not just the worst. I mean, I'd love to talk to a historian about it. is Gavin Newsom not just, he's obviously the worst governor of America in America right now in terms of his record, potentially, when you look at these massive failures, the worst governor in American history.
At the end of the day, it's pretty simple, folks. If Gavin Newsom wins the primary in 2028 and goes head-to-head against somebody like J.D. Vance, I think he'll get demolished, but there's always a chance. And if he does somehow win the presidency of 2028, you can expect the United States to end up just like California.